Hello, and welcome to a short lecture on Native American assimilation into the United States culture by Joyce Kusarovi. Cultural assimilation occurred when the Europeans entered the new land. They felt that the Native American Indians were savages and therefore required civilization. This would not only help them join peacefully into the United States society, but would make them more like the Europeans that settled in our land. The greater immigration from Europe there was, the greater the public support for education to encourage a standard set of cultural values and practices that would be held by the majority of citizens. Education was to be the primary method to accomplish this goal. American policies based on the belief that when the American Indians learned the United States customs and values, they would then be able to merge tribal traditions with the new customs and the new culture and peacefully join the majority of society. As we've come to learn, that was not the case. Assimilation took place through a view that assimilation through total immersion would be the best way. Thus, the white people insisted and punished the parents who did not send their children to the boarding schools. While the children were at the boarding schools, they were stripped of their native clothing, given white men clothing to wear. They were forbidden to speak their native language, practice any of their native traditions, and to be totally immersed into English customs. They were taught Christianity, and there was, after the Indian Wars, the government outlawed the practice of traditional religious ceremonies. The children were forced to stay in these boarding schools for a year or more, so that when they returned to the tribe, they were out of place because they did not know the tribal traditions, values. The boarding schools were run by missionaries. They were forced to abandon their Indian identity and to adapt into the American culture. Often, there were cases of mental and sexual abuse. So what effect does this type of assimilation have on retention of these children into schools? In a study done by S.E. Stone in April of 2011, they stated that among the Indian nation, they are one of the lowest retention for schools based on ethnicity. There are many factors that affect retention, such as money, family support, inclusion of the Indian culture in the schools. There is a lack of government funding for these tribal schools. Therefore, the teachers are often poorly prepared. They often commit cultural genocide by not teaching the cultural values and traditions of the Indian nation. Oftentimes, the course material is culturally irrelevant. The students are forced to take tests on items that are not relevant to them, and therefore they do not do well. So what is being done? They are lobbying government to increase funding for the tribal schools. They are making Indian culture part of the curriculum. They are including time for native language skills. They have found that traditional tribal values, when used in conjunction with the United States education system, has a greater academic excellence than if you tried to force assimilation, which equals poor academic performance. A great question doesn't simply inform, it enlightens. If anyone has any questions, you can ask now or you can email me. Thank you. Bye.